So what are fat soluble vitamins? Fat soluble vitamins.
Hydrophobic molecule.
So hydrophobic molecules, the vitamins that are soluble in fat. So what are the name of fat soluble vitamins? What
Vitamin
are
A, K, D.
vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and K. So four vitamins are there for fat soluble vitamins, and you actually most of you know about the function of these all vitamins. More or less, you know the function of all these. What is the function of vitamin A?
For vision.
For what? Vision. Okay. Vision. One is vision, and then what next? It is also required for cell differentiation, vision and cell differentiation. Sometimes, so third function is also there, but let's not talk about that third function. Now, what is the function of this vitamin D?
Bone, sir.
Skin.
It's for bone.
Yeah,
Or
bone.
bone.
Bone calcification. Okay. So it is related to calcification, calcium metabolism, calcification and calcium metabolism. So what is the function of vitamin E?
Protection from free radicals.
Good. Protection of free radical, protection of membrane from free radical. So what is the function of vitamin K?
Blood clotting. Bone.
Hemostasis.
K for, yeah, coagulation factor. Actually, you all know about this vitamin. Generally, you know the function of this vitamin. So I will go into a bit detail about this vitamin. So let's start with the vitamin vitamin A. So vitamin A. So these all fat soluble vitamins. So digestion, if you, let's start from digestion and absorption. All fat soluble vitamin, if you talk about digestion and absorption, all fat soluble, it is common for all fat soluble vitamins. So digestion and absorption generally require bile salt. Okay, bile salt. So this is for all fat, and this is the absorption occurs through chylomicron. So remember this two important things. This fat soluble vitamins. Now vitamin A will happen through this. Then vitamin A is required, is present in two forms. One is actually three form. It is present in three form. First is retinol, means alcohol containing form. Second form is oxidized, little bit more oxidized form, retinol. And third form, most oxidized, retinoic acid. So did you understand this three form?
So what? Retinoic acid is the most oxidized form.
Yeah, most oxidized form. So when retinol is the first form, and this form is transport and storage form. Storage, okay? Especially storage form. Retinol is a storage form. So vitamin A is present in which form? First is
All.
retinol. This is all OH group is there, and then retinol. This is CHO aldehyde group. This is aldehyde group containing, and this is retinoic acid. Yes, retinoic acid. So retinol is oxidized form of retinol, and this is the most oxidized. Retinoic acid is the most oxidized form of retinol. Now retinol is storage form. Okay, storage and transport. Okay, so this is not utilized in functional component. Retinol is not utilized as a function. In functional form, retinol is not a functional form. Retinol and retinoin, they are functional form. So retinol is required in, it is very important for vision. Okay, this is a part of, this retinol is part of your rhodopsin. This is rhodopsin pigment. So rhodopsin has this thallus like you see in your chloroplast, like that of membrane, like of thallus are there. Okay, so these are divided membranes are there. If you cut this membrane, So there will be this type of membrane, and each membrane has this receptor, G protein coupled receptor. And this, if you enlarge this G protein receptor, let's enlarge this G protein receptor like this, 7 transmembrane receptor. Okay. So this receptor, at the receptor terminal, there is one molecule. There is one molecule that is bound to here. This is called retinol. This retinol molecule is present here. When photon of light falls here, so what will happen? This molecule will change its structure. This molecule will change its structure. This retinol will change this structure to a straight. This is cis form of retinol. Cis form of retinol will change to trans form. Because of this, there will be a structural change in this protein also. And because of this G protein, which type of G protein? GS protein will be activated. Different type of G protein. So this will form a cascade of reaction, and that is how we can see. Did you understand this function of retinol here? What is the function of retinol? Retinol is a photoreceptor. Can call it photoreceptor, photon receptor. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Now what will happen is, once this cis retinol convert into trans, this retinol will separate from this molecule. This will separate from this molecule. This separate from this molecule, and this retinol again will be converted into, will again convert into cis, and then this form. This again retinol will join with this receptor, and this cycle is called visual cycle. This is called visual cycle. That retinol, this is separated from this receptor. This is called opsin receptor, rhodopsin receptor. Rhodopsin receptor pigment. And from this, after separation, again it will associate. Again it will activate it. Again it will separate. It will be separated. So this cycle goes on and on. And this process is called visual cycle. And this is very important. This retinol is very important, plays very important role this way in vision. Now let's talk about this retinoic acid. Retinoic acid is actually, it function different way. It is a bit like hormone. Did you understand this? How does retinol is functioning? Did you understand?
Yes, sir, in visual cycle.
You understood retinal function of retinol?
Yes, sir. It changes the conformation.
Yes, it changes the conformation. It actually a photoreceptor. Retinol is a photoreceptor in rod and cone cell. Now, so you understood this. Now let's talk about retinoic acid. So how does retinoic acid act? So retinoic acid actually, it function as hormone. So it will go into cell, inside cell. Do you know there are two types of hormone? Hormone are of first. There are two types of hormone. First is membrane bond hormone receptor, and there is second receptor for membrane, that is called nuclear receptor. Do you know this?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So this retinoic acid is actually retinoic acid receptor is a nuclear receptor. So receptor here is a nuclear receptor, and this retinoic acid, so I will write it like this. So R. So this retinoic acid will come inside, and this retinoic acid will bind to here, and this is how it will cause activation or inhibition of gene. Activation and inhibition of gene, and thereby this retinoic acid will cause differentiation, cell differentiation. especially epithelial, mucous membrane differentiation. Now, did you understand the role of these three: retinol, retinal, and retinoic acid?
Yes, sir.
So, if you understood this three function of this three form of this vitamin A, then you have understood vitamin A. So, this is the most important part of vitamin A. So, we will talk about the deficiency. You will easily understand deficiency, and you might be knowing also. Now, let's talk about D, vitamin D. So, vitamin D, what is the function? This is also act as hormone. Isn't it act as hormone?
Yes, sir.
Right.
25 hydroxy.
Yes. Actually, the synthesis of vitamin is also very important, because this is the fat soluble vitamin that is synthesized. So synthesis, first let's talk about how does this synthesis happens? What is the parental compound from which synthesis happens? First is, where does it synthesize? First synthesis happens where? First reaction. The parent molecule from which vitamin D is synthesized is, so it is synthesized from cholesterol. Vitamin D is synthesized from?
Cholesterol.
Yes, cholesterol. Which cholesterol? There is one extra thing is there, 7-dehydrocholesterol. And cholesterol, there is, this is, if you write this as cholesterol, this is cholesterol. If it is a cholesterol, this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is 7-dehydrocholesterol. There is double bond here, and then 3, 4, there is double bond here also. So this type of, or here, no, here is double. So this type of double bond, the actually cholesterol containing double bond here is utilized for synthesis of vitamin D. So what is the first reaction then in synthesis of vitamin D? The first reaction takes place where? Tell me the place.
Liver.
First, skin. Light will come at first. Which light? Actually UV light. So this is the first step. So in first step only, what will happen? Bond will break here. Now this will result in a very different type of molecule. This is cholesterol, and this is broken type of cholesterol. You can see this is a broken type of cholesterol. So this bond is broken, and this will result in a molecule like this. Split molecule will be synthesized. Did you understand this?
Yes.
So this is cholecalciferol. Cholecalciferol. That synthesis happens in skin. Now, what is the second reaction then? Second reaction. This is first reaction. Happens in the skin because of sunlight. What is this? And this first reaction is breaking up this bond. What is this second reaction and third reaction? What is the second reaction? Can anybody tell me? Where does it happen, second reaction? Be quick.
Liver.
Yes, very good. Liver. And what type of reaction is this? This is hydroxylation reaction.
20
Where?
hydroxycholecalciferol.
Yeah, 25 hydroxy cholecalciferol. Now then third reaction happens where?
Stomach.
Not kidney. It happens in
Intestine.
kidney. Okay?
Sorry.
And this, yes, this is which, then what will happen then?
The same reaction. It will change into 1,2,3,5
125
hydroxy
dihydroxy
dihydroxycholecalciferol.
cholecalciferol. So this is, first is the bond breaking reaction, and second is hydroxylation. This is also hydroxylation. Now, the second hydroxylation happens where? You can see second hydroxylation happens at 25. This is 25 position here. And then third hydroxylation happens. This is first position. Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
This became vitamin D, D3. This becomes D3. Now, did you understand? D3 has 3 ring. 1, 2, 3 ring. D3. So you can easily remember this 2 and then this 3 ring is like this. So this is vitamin D. Did you understand synthesis of vitamin D?
Yes, sir.
Now let's talk about function. You already know function. So function is done by 3 processes. By impacting 3 organs, and that 3 organ also is we can give the name of this 3 organ by D3. D3 for D3. D3 for 3D organ. What is this 3D? One organ is what? Duodenum. Did you get that?
Yes, sir.
Second organ is second function is function on DCT. Third function is demineralization. So this third function, you see, can you see? This third function may look very contradictory than your belief, but this is true. The immediate impact of vitamin D will be demineralization, because vitamin D will bind osteoclast. Because osteoclast has receptor for vitamin D. Osteoclast has receptor. Receptor is also again intracellular receptor for vitamin D. So this has osteoclast has a receptor for vitamin D, and that is why osteoclast will do osteolysis. So immediate effect is osteolysis. Immediate effect of vitamin D on bone is osteolysis. Then what is the function of this vitamin D on duodenum? Tell me.
Duodenum for the absorption.
Absorption of calcium. Calcium. How? Which protein?
Intrinsic factor.
Which protein?
Intrinsic factor.
Calcium binding protein. Cal binding. Actually, what does this vitamin D do? Vitamin D actually go into this enterocyte and bind the receptor that is there in enterocyte, and it will activate the DNA, and because of activation of DNA, this cal binding protein will be synthesized, and this protein will help absorption of calcium. Did you understand this process? Absorption of calcium, did you understand?
Yes.
Now, this DCT will help in absorption of calcium. How? This helps in reabsorption of calcium. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
DCT, DCT is reabsorption. So reabsorption in distal convoluted tubule of the kidney. So what does here also, what does this do? Vitamin D, again cal binding and calcium reabsorption. Did you understand this whole concept of function of vitamin D?
Yes, sir.
Everything about vitamin D is important. That is why I'm talking about everything. Now, after function, so did you understand mechanism of vitamin D also? I told you it acts through binding, it's act by binding through its nuclear receptor. Okay. So, did you understand? How does it act? Now, so if you have understood, then the deficiency syndrome, deficiency of this vitamin D will be related to deficiency of calcium. Deficiency of vitamin D is equal to deficiency of calcium. Now I told you three function: absorption of calcium, reabsorption of calcium. So calcium will be calcium and then lysis of bone. The ultimate effect plus absorption of reabsorption of calcium plus lysis of bone, ultimate effect will be deposition of calcium in bone. Okay, if you add both, if sum both lysis of bone plus demineralization of bone plus absorption and reabsorption of calcium, if you sum them, so ultimate effect will be high calcium in bone. So the mineralization of calcium in bone. That is why vitamin D is called directly. If we have to speak the function, if we have to talk about the function, we call function of vitamin D is to mineralization of bone. But the immediate effect is on osteoclast, demineralizing. This is a very important point. Now that is why when vitamin D deficiency is there, this will lead to deficiency of calcium, and then you know children will have rickets and adult will have osteomalacia. Lack of calcium in bone will cause rickets in children and osteomalacia in adult. So these are the vitamin D. Now AD and then E. There is nothing more about E. So E protects membrane.
Sir,
Yes, tell me.
can you please explain that last thing you explained about calcium lysis?
So what are the function of calcium? Vitamin D.
To absorb the calcium
Then
and
absorption,
and
reabsorption,
demineralization, reabsorption.
and then demineralization. Okay. So three function is there: absorption of calcium from intestine, reabsorption from kidney, and then lysis of bone.
Demineralization, yeah.
Immediate function is lysis of bone. But if you sum both things, one factor is increasing calcium concentration in body, and other is doing demineralization. If you sum this both, so the ultimate effect will be mineralization of bone. Okay, did you understand?
Yes, sir.
And that is why we call the function of vitamin D as mineralization of bone. We don't call demineralization. But if somebody specifies that what is the immediate function of calcium in this vitamin D, you have to say what is the effect of vitamin D on bone. So then you have to say that immediate effect is demineralization, but overall effect is mineralization. So this is very important. So now vitamin E, how does it help? It protects membrane lipid. Okay, it protects what? Membrane lipid. Now, so if membrane lipid is protected, now let's assume if vitamin E is absent, what will happen then?
There won't be any protection for membrane.
No protection, then this will lead to which problem?
Hemolysis.
Did you understand? Vitamin E deficiency will lead to hemolysis. This is the only point you have to remember about vitamin E. This is the only most important point about vitamin E. If you remember, vitamin E is done. So vitamin E protects membrane peroxidation, and if vitamin deficiency is there, membrane will be damaged by peroxidation and it will cause hemolysis. Now, did you understand vitamin E now?
Yes, sir.
So let's talk about vitamin K. Vitamin K. So what is the role of vitamin K? Is coagulation. Okay, coagulation. How does it helps in coagulation?
By conversion of the factors or activation of the factors, I guess.
Very good, very good. Activation of factor. Activation of factor. Or you activation of factor. Rather, a more important terminology is maturation. Okay, clotting factor maturation. Clotting factor maturation. So how does it do clotting factor maturation? By very specific process. This is a protein of clotting factor. If you can see, this is a clotting factor protein. So this will do clotting factor maturation by very, very, very specific process, very specific reaction. That reaction is called gamma carboxylation of glutamate residue. Okay, will you remember this terminology? K for gamma carboxylation, K for carboxylation, K for coagulation, and K for gamma carboxylation
Yes,
of
sir.
this coagulation factor protein, gamma carboxylation of glutamate. So now you can, what is glutamic acid? What is glutamic acid?
Amino acid.
Okay, amino. Which type of amino acid? Carboxy group containing 5 carbon amino acid. Don't you get from glutamate only? You get alpha ketoglutarate. This is keto acid of glutamate. So this is a 5 carbon. You can see this is 2 carbon, and then there is 3, and then 4, and then 5 carbon carboxyl. So this is glutamic acid present in protein. Can you see this is other amino acid bound to protein? This is amide bond. This is other amino acid will be bound to this. This is peptide bond. Here also other amino acid will be present here. Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
So this glutamate that is present in this protein, this is glutamate. You can say I'll write this glutamate like this. Sorry, I'll use different color. This is glutamate like this. Can I write glutamate like this? Or can I write glutamate like this? With one COO group here. Can I write glutamate like this? COO group here. Can I write glutamate here? COO group, because this 1 carbon, 2 carbon, because NCC, you know NCC 2 carbon is part of this protein chain backbone, and 1 nitrogen is part of this backbone. So 3 carbon will be free, 1, 2, 3 carbon. Did you understand? Can you write glutamate residue like this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now see, so if you count, what does gamma means? This is which carbon? The carbon attached to this functional group is which carbon?
Alpha carbon.
Alpha carbon. This is which carbon?
Beta carbon.
And this is?
Gamma.
Okay. So when you add a carboxy group here, can you see what does it become? Yes, this become carboxy group like this, negative charge. I will draw one negative, and you remove this H group and you put one negative charge. So can you see this? What type of compound it becomes? Can you see this becomes this type of compound? Can you see this becomes this type of compound? Can you see here? Can you see?
Yes, sir.
So what is the effect of gamma carboxylation now? So can I erase all this to show you?
Yes,
So,
sir.
so isn't this gamma effect of this gamma carboxylation formation of this bident compound? negatively charged compound? Isn't it this formation, gamma carboxylation? Did you understand this? So there is 2 negative charge, and calcium has which? 2 positive charge. Now this is very suitable group that can easily bind to this divalent compound of calcium. Can you see? Will it become very suitable compound for formation of bond with this for binding calcium? Will it become a very suitable compound, gamma carboxylated glutamate?
Yes.
Now this is the purpose of gamma carboxylation. Now imagine if gamma carboxylation is not there, this only one carboxy group, can it hold calcium? No, it cannot hold calcium. This is the significance of gamma carboxylation. Now gamma carboxylation happens in certain clothing factor. What are these clothing factor? Clothing factor are 2, clothing factor 7, and clothing factor 9, and clothing factor 10. This clothing factor is added with this type of group, gamma carboxylation group. How will you remember this 2, 7, 9, 10? I'll give you very easy trick to remember. Just add 2 plus 7. What does it become?
9.
And 10. So will you remember this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If you remember 9, and if you like divide 9 into 2, it becomes 2 and 7. So that you can remember 2, 7. 2 is prothrombin. Prothrombin. You can remember, if you can remember prothrombin. And this is 7 is part of extrinsic pathway. Extrinsic pathway. And this 9, especially 10, is part of 10, and 2 is part of common pathway. Now this 9 is related to 10. 10 is at the center, and this extrinsic pathway is connected to 9 like this, and 2 is also connected to 10. So all the clothing factor at the periphery of this 10, and this clothing factor all utilize calcium. These are calcium dependent clothing factor. So that is why if gamma carboxylation is not there, this clothing factor will not be able to interact with each other, and therefore clothing will be delayed. Did you understand gamma carboxylation nicely?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is vitamin K. Now let's talk about this vitamin quickly. So vitamin A, 3 forms you already know. Did you understand this 3 form? So you already know this from this 3 form. You go and study this 3 form yourself. So retinoic acid, I have given a detailed picture of retinoic, how it binds this receptor. You can see. So these 3 forms are there. So this is, one is tissue storage, this is for vision, and this is for tissue differentiation. Retinoic acid, you can see it is for tissue differentiation. And other function, if you remember, that's good. If you don't remember, that's also good. And vitamin A is also required for retina treatment for this retinitis pigmentosa, a rare disorder. This is a rare disorder. So vitamin A is also given for treatment of retinitis pigmentosa. What happens? Rod cells and cold cells are lost, and if vitamin A is given, that loss will be prolonged, delayed. And this is the function, 2 extra function of vitamin. Now these are the sources. You can go and read yourself. And isotretinoid is a form of retinoic acid. It can be used as acne. So these are the night blindness happens because of deficiency of vitamin A here. You can see this night blindness, how night blindness happens. And because of retinoic acid, this will happen, xerophthalmia. So this will progress to very dryness. First dryness will happen, and then this will lead to bitter spot, and this again, if the condition is not treated, it will lead to corneal xerosis. That is, cornea will have problem, will be affected, then corneal ulceration, and that will lead to a permanent blindness. So this is the progress. This is how this is the function of retinoic acid. If retinoic acid is absent or vitamin A is absent, so xerophthalmia, corneal conjunctival xerosis and Bitot spots, corneal xerosis and corneal ulceration. So visual vision is the function of retinal, and this is function of. What is the presentation of excess? Excess vitamin A will result in intracranial pressure, high intracranial pressure. Remember this. Excess vitamin D will cause ICP. What is the problem that is associated with the ICP? You have already studied in neurology.
Herniation.
So, yeah, herniation will be there, and this presentation you can see through the eyes papilledema. And this also chronic toxicity of vitamin A can lead to fall of hairs, alopecia, pain in joint. So this our presentation can be, this is acute poisoning, can cause intracranial pressure. So remember, vitamin A will cause, excess vitamin A will cause intracranial pressure, high intracranial pressure. So it has also retinoic acid in the vitamin A in form of retinoic acid can cause teratogenic effect. If it is very high, so it can affect the embryogenesis. So you know why, how? Because retinoic acid is a hormone. So vitamin D, I have already explained. Vitamin D3, let's talk about. So you already know. First reaction is break in the bond. Then after breaking, there will be hydroxylation, and then so these are the regulation. You go and study yourself. So these are the form of vitamin 25 hydroxylase 125, which is the rate limiting enzyme of this vitamin D synthesis, which is regulatory enzyme. The enzyme that is present in kidney is a regulatory enzyme. Okay, 1-alpha hydroxylase is regulatory enzyme. It is activated by parathormone hormone. Remember this. Third step is, last step is a regulatory step. 1-alpha hydroxylase. Now this is the same thing you can go through. So this is a hormone. Actually, basically, the vitamin D is a hormone. It will act by binding nuclear receptor. So vitamin D function 3D I have already told you. So destroy bone, demineralize or destroy bone, immediate action, but ultimate is the mineralization, remodeling of bone. Osteoclast has a receptor, I have already told you. So you can read yourself and you can understand many things. Now deficiency because of, so you can read yourself. So fat malabsorption, induction of this, if vitamin D is degraded, then deficiency can happen. So hepatic renal function, if there is no liver damage or kidney damage is there, then vitamin D deficiency can be there. So these are the very important factors. Sunlight, lack of sunlight, sun exposure. This is a very common factor. Lack of sun exposure that leads to vitamin D deficiency. And this is also in morbid condition when liver and kidney is damaged, no synthesis of vitamin D. So these two are very important. And these are rare conditions. So fat malabsorption. You can see in A beta lipoproteinemia. Do you remember this disorder, A beta lipoproteinemia?
Yes, sir.
So fat malabsorption. These three are very important. So rickets in children, osteomalacia in adult. Deficiency will cause rickets in children, osteomalacia in adult. So these are the features of rickets. You can see bowing of legs and other big, this skull. You can see wide sutures are there, spontaneous frontal boozing is there. So this chest deformities are there. So these are the presentation of vitamin D deficiency in children, that is called rickets. So this is, you can see vitamin D deficiency in adult or can cause low calcium. These are the presentation signs of presentation of low calcium. These two signs: Vostok sign and Trousseau sign. Trousseau sign, when you put a cuff, so hand will be bent, carpopedal will be bending, will be there like this. When you tap here on facial nerve, there will be this pulling of this your what you to say angle of mouth will be there. This is called Vostok sign. So this is Vostok sign. This is Trousseau sign. This is because of hypocalcemia. There is difference with this. This is called tetany. Loss in low calcium will cause hyperactivation of muscle, and this phenomenon is called tetany. And there can be ECG changes also. QT interval will be prolonged. So these are the presentation of vitamin D deficiency that leads to hypocalcemia. Now excess will lead to high calcium. Excess will cause high calcium. And you can see high calcium, I'll give you a very nice type of rhymes. So high calcium will lead to stones, bones, thrones, groans, psychiatric overtones. This is the presentation of high calcium. What does it mean? Stones means kidney stones can be there. Stone formation in various places can be. Calcification will happen in around these vessels also. In this stone formation can happen in kidney and other places. So this is called stones. Bones means bone pain will be there. So you can see bone hypercalcium will lead to this bone pain also. And then thrones means repeated urination, nocturia, and then polydipsia. So more thirst and more urination will be there. So this is called thrones. And groans means pain, abdominal pain will be there. And there can be a psychiatric abnormality. This is called psychiatric overtones. So will you remember?
Yes.
So stones, bones, thrones, groans, psychiatric overtones. You can remember the presentation of high calcium. This is the this vitamin D toxicity will lead to high calcium, and high calcium will lead to this problem. And this high calcium, hypercalcium, is related to the one very important disorder. This disorder is called sarcoidosis. So you will study this sarcoidosis in I have also discussed that sarcoidosis in one of my videos, so you can study that sarcoidosis there also. So sarcoidosis, what happens? These are the there will be fibrosis in generalized fibrosis around the body, especially fibrosis in the lymph node around the lungs. That is why the people come with the presentation of cough. So this sarcoidosis patients, so macrophages in that fibrous tissue, macrophages will have very high activity of alpha-1 hydroxylase, and this alpha-1 hydroxylase is not regulated by parathormone hormone. It is not regulated. That is why more production means more vitamin D, activation of vitamin D in this macrophage. So more vitamin, more calcium. So this will lead to vitamin D toxicity. This sarcoidosis is associated with vitamin D toxicity because of presence of alpha-1 hydroxylase that is not regulated by parathormone hormone. Did you understand now? Sarcoidosis, will you remember? Vitamin toxicity, cause of vitamin D toxicity, very important cause is sarcoidosis. Remember this. So vitamin E, I don't have to say much, just read yourself. And this will cause hemolytic anemia. That is the most important thing about vitamin E. So go through this. This will prevent lipid peroxidation. That's it. So I have already explained this very nicely. You can see 2 + 7, 9, and 10. Vitamin K will cause gamma carboxylation of glutamic acid. This is very important step. Gamma carboxylation. This gamma carboxylation will be very important for functioning of this clotting factors. In addition to this clotting factor, protein C and protein S is also there. Just remember this 2, 7, 9, 10. These clotting factors will bind to calcium through this gamma carboxylated hands. So this is the fact. So these are the causes of deficiency. And very important thing about the vitamin K is newborn baby. The baby's intestine is sterile, and that is why vitamin K cannot be formed in the intestine, because vitamin K normally is synthesized by our bacteria, intestinal bacteria, and that is why we don't need that much vitamin K from outside. Did you understand? Yes, any problem? So, vitamin K, because the neonate's intestine is sterile, that is why newborn baby is given vitamin K injection. Okay, that is the very important function. Vitamin K injection is given to the neonate. And then, so this is the most important. Prolonged use of broad spectrum antibiotic can also lead to bacterial death. And then vitamin K deficiency. These two are very important functions. And then if there is this A beta lipoproteinemia is also associated with vitamin K deficiency, and hepatic function can lead to decrease. So because liver will produce bile, that is why low hepatic function, low vitamin K activation, that is one thing, and this absorption will also be affected. One is this liver will cause less production of damaged liver, will produce less bile, and then there will be less this absorption of vitamin K. Now you can see this vitamin K deficiency will cause increased PT in the beginning. So in the beginning, PT is only increased because PT is associated with extrinsic pathway. You know, factor 7 is involved. So PT is involved. Prothrombin time is increased in the beginning. Later, if this deficiency progresses, then there can be deficiency of both. But first, generally you will find only PT will be increased, not APTT. APTT signifies intrinsic pathway. So this will only be increased. This is very important finding. So rare excess can cause hemolytic anemia. This is not that important. Excess and deficiency, there are no deficiency is important, but excess of vitamin K is not important. Vitamin A and vitamin D excess is important. So can you solve this question? Female parents to her primary constipation, abdominal pain. There is hypercalcemia. And what is the most likely cause of this parent symptom? So hypercalcemia is related to vitamin overdose, vitamin D overdose. So you can go through this question. Now, refusal granted for exclusively breastfed baby can have exclusively breastfed baby in temperate zone, which is not where sunlight is not that sufficient. In such baby, there will be vitamin D deficiency. So you can go to this link and you can find that. This is the guideline by CDC. So counseling of pregnant women plans for breastfed exclusively regarding her newborn nutritional required child was born at home, and mother only plans for her newborn to receive vaccination but no other routine medical care. Which vitamin should be given to newborn? As soon as what vitamin?
K and D.
Yeah, K. Vitamin K should be given as vitamin, not D. Newborn, see the terminology, newborn, not infant. It is not written, infant is not written, okay? Newborn. Vitamin K is given as soon as baby get birth. So you can see decreased growth, pigmented retinopathy, hemolytic anemia, peripheral neuropathy. You suspect vitamin deficiency. Which of the following most likely responsible for patient's condition? Tell me.
Pernicious anemia.
A beta lipoproteinemia, because many problems, you can see many problems. I have already discussed in absorption of lipid, A beta lipoproteinemia. Go and see that slides about A beta lipoproteinemia. So 72 years old male present to the clinic, lumbar pain. symmetrical bone pain, leg and arms. He has trouble going bedroom, second floor, getting chair. So, and then which of the following processes must likely decrease in the male? So this must be about vitamin B12 deficiency, okay?
Okay, sir.
See heartburn, vegetarian diet, you can see. This is vitamin B12 deficiency. So which of the following processes is must likely decreased in this male?
Iron absorption.
Iron absorption,
Yeah.
vitamin,
Bone mineralization.
degradation of branch chain, propionic acid pathway. Propionic acid pathway, vitamin B12. And branch chain will, which branch chain is branch chain amino acid? Valine, VIM, valine isoleucine will give propionic acid. That is why if vitamin B12 is not there, so this propionic acid pathway is involved, and that is branch chain amino acid pathway. Did you understand this? Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Now you can see this is the condition of vitamin K deficiency. You can see petechiae because of coagulation factor deficiency. You can go and see this.